and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, affectionately known for the last 40 years now as the Money Lady, both locally, nationally, and internationally. And as always, I'm honored to be in your homes, cell phones, whatever venue you're using today to get this information. Because as I've said repeatedly over the last 14 years, that is correct, viewers, I've been on this station weekly for the last 14 years, and I'm proud to say, and honored to say, that at the present time, I'm in over 90 markets, including New York City, Philadelphia, and others. The reason I say this is because, as I maintained from the beginning, that information is critical. And if you're going to survive and thrive during the economic chaos that is in place right now, globally, you can't run from this. It is here. And my goal is to make sure that you have the necessary tools, resources, know people from who I've talked to and interviewed, and know me. I mean, you've been watching long enough to know that I'm going to cut it straight. I have to, because life is painful enough that you don't need anybody dancing through the tulip fields. You need to have what is necessary to allow you to get through the day. So I'd like to begin this show. We're going to be going deep. We're taking a deep dive into BRICS, B-R-I-C-S, BRICS. And I'm going to talk to you about what it is you need to know. I'm also going to share with you some kind of updated information as it pertains to job numbers, etc. Now, background on me. For those of you that are new or never knew who I was, too bad. I'm a tough lady. My name is Michelle Graves. I'm known affectionately as the Money Lady for over 40 years now. I'm a member of the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame, the first and only African American female inducted in the field of banking and finance. My training, grad was as an economist. Know what an economist is. I'm a professional economist, which is a specialty. And economists are trained professionals to look at economic conditions, to look at global conditions. My major was international economics, so I'm always going to be looking at what's happening globally. I'm going to watch the stock market. I'm going to look at labor data. I'm going to look at all of this to enable you, because unless you have the credentials, you won't know whether you should be paying attention or not. And I'm here to tell you that you had just better be paying attention. I'm just so serious, because you can be washed away. The floods are an example. I think it's prophetic. Floods are everywhere. People are being washed away. Well, if you don't have the necessary information, the tools, and the validation that I provide, you too will be washed away with misinformation, with personal opinions, with, I don't know. You got to know. And for the record, all economists globally, that's all of us, have been trained just like doctors. If you go to a doctor and you have cancer and they send you to a specialist in cancer, that person has the credentialing and the tried and true, excuse me, please, training to be able to give you the help that you need going through cancer. That's not within the purview of a general practitioner. Not to despise or to decry what they do. They do tremendous stuff. But these are specialists. I'm a specialist, viewers. Don't get mad at me. Please don't get mad at me, because I'm going to call it the way I've been trained to call it. And believe me, there is pretty much universal harmony, whether you are an economist in America, whether you're an economist in China, Russia, Venezuela. We've all come through the same training process about what is and what is not to enable us to make sound predictions. Now, where will you find economists? For the most part, you'll find us working in an advisory capacity to presidents of governments, presidents of companies. I chose to boots on the ground and run my own show as an investment and banking specialist, 40 years, specialized in mergers and acquisitions, bought banks. Yeah, I did. And no banking in my sleep. And do I trust them? No. No. Why would I? They make money off you. You think you get 1% on your little CD, maybe more, not much, and the rest is profit for them. They lend money for credit cards. You've seen the credit card interest rate now. So if they're paying you 1% and they're making 34.99, then how much profit do you think they're making? A lot. They make loans to businesses. They do lines of credit. They do all kinds of things where they make money off of your money, which is insured up to a certain point by the federal government. That's the world of banking. They're going to make money. And how we continue to believe that our banker is such a nice person. I'm like, why do you give emotional attributes to a system that thrives on your ignorance? Yep, they do. So I'm not bashing anybody. My goal is to make sure you see a thing the way I've been trained to see a thing so that there's no confusion. That's where I'm at. And that's why I'm talking about the things I talk about. Okay? I still have my private company. I still do consulting for major companies. I still have a strong opinion about this country. I am an American, born in Kentucky, rural Kentucky, like rare, rural Kentucky. Got relatives, mountain people, regular people. It doesn't get any worse in Kentucky. I'm just telling you, they broke people, but they got good hearts. I can go with that. Kentucky Colonel, yes I am. I love horses. I do. I like to see them run. I like Kentucky bourbon. I'm not a drinker, but the state of Kentucky built its reputation on its bourbon. Love wild turkey. Don't drink it. There was a time I did. My daddy will tell you that. When I was in college and I didn't know no better. For real. I don't do any of that. I don't even drink wine. I just drink water, alkaline water, and sometimes one of the enhanced drinks. But that's pretty much my diet. I stay away from soda because of the high fructose, fancy word for corn syrup. That'll mess you up for real. All you Mountain Dew addicts, you know. Oh, you know. It kill your liver, by the way. I don't want to get off path. But what I am trying to do is give you an insight to who I am and why I have sustained over the years, not just as a member of the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame, but also I was an Athena Award winner for 30 years of empowering women. No, I don't have an axe to grind with men, but I tell you what, you can't continue to discriminate against women because we're the ones getting the college education and degrees. Men are out the workplace, trying to find themselves, trying to figure out where they fit in. I don't know where to tell you, I'm not a man. I'm in an industry where women are very limited, period. I was the only female, only black in the investment department for many years. And you know what? The color money is green. If you needed the money, you had to come to me. If you didn't like what I look like, then you were just first class stupid. Because if I'm the key to you getting what you want, it wouldn't matter. If I'm a cockroach sitting on a porch step and I can get you what you want, you need to grow up and get mature. And don't think you can wink and blink at me. Which some men in my early days, they did that kind of dumb stuff because they really didn't understand that your mother's a woman, dummy. Your intelligence came from her. That's not a plus. That's a fact. So why am I going with all of this is to reestablish for many of you who may not know me, and as I'm doing lots of national speaking again, you need to know me. And you need to not discount what I tell you. Okay, because I'm not throwing out a bunch of credentials for you to review. I'm too old. I'm in my 70s, getting closer to 80. And they're like, how'd she look like that? Because I live a good, godly life. I don't do the things that got you in trouble. And so many of you in a box. I'm not doing that. I don't know when God's going to knock on me. But I tell you what, I'm not going to accelerate the process by living a life that says I'd be so much happier in a box. So I'm careful about what I do and how I live and who I engage with. I don't engage with toxic people, people that chirp, gossip all the time, talk about people, put people down, do treacherous and dirty things. All you're doing is inviting karma. And for those of you that are Christians that are offended with karma, all I'm going to say is God said in his word, you're going to reap what you sow. Okay, that's karma. For those that don't believe, and those that do believe, reaping is real. You can reap good, you can reap bad. Choose to reap good. Trust me, bad is just not good. Okay, so I'm saying all this because my number one priority over this coming year, and by the way, the year is just about up. It is. Got a few more subjects I'm going to deal with as a part of this year. Medicare is coming. Is the prognosis good? No. No. Carriers aren't making any money. Everybody's sick. Everybody's sick with something. I told them, well, they sick because the air's sick, the soil's sick. We eat, we drink, we breathe, we're humans. And so we're sick. And they're making some changes, and I don't like the changes. I've been in Medicare for 20 plus years. I don't like what I'm looking at. I don't. But that's another show, and that will be coming. But today's show specifically is going to deal with a global perspective. Now, before you say, pull out your globe and look at the world and look at all the countries and all the nation states. And then look at the United States and look at our partners to the north, Canada, to the south, Mexico, and other countries, Venezuela, Brazil, the Caribbean, all these other people. Look to the south. Then look to the east, China, Vietnam, India. Okay, Russia to the north. Yeah, Philippines to the south, Indonesia. Go further east, Europe. Yeah, it's a big place. And it's inexcusable to say, I don't, why do I need to know? Because it's getting ready to impact on you. It's already impacting. You may not be aware of what the Ukraine war is really about. I mean, I hope you don't think it's Donald Duck type stuff. Ukraine is very important. Okay? And the fact that we've been wishy-washy should tell you something. Chernobyl should ring a bell in your head. If you don't know what Chernobyl is, Google it, Chernobyl, Chernobyl, Ukraine, and see what happened to those people. And Crimea, which 12 years ago, Russia just did what they did 12 years ago and took a part of Ukraine and just say, it's mine next. Nobody said a word. Wonder why? Okay? They weren't calling Putin a devil. They weren't saying anything. So, when I say today's subject is about BRICS, what it is, who it is, and why it affects you, it's to provoke you to begin to ask the question, what the heck is going on? And turn off your little reality TV and your games because they're not paying your bills, they're not getting you a raise, they're not retaining your job, okay? That's not what's happening. And you need to know. Well, let's start off with the United States of America, which prior to World War II really was like the vast hinterlands of the world. People knew about us, but we were separated from the vast majority of the world as a country. We were known as a country where people that were in disfavor in their countries could come over and fresh start. So they came over here broke. Now, that's not everybody. There was always a gentry class of people that had wealth that came from England, and they came over here to make more money at the expense of the people that were coming over here as immigrants. And I don't want to get onto the subject of immigrants because I've already talked to you all about immigrants. Whether you like it or not, your great-great-granddaddy was an immigrant, and he was probably broker than broke, and his wife, and doing the best they could because Europe offered poor people nothing. And for the record, they still don't. Don't go over there poor. They don't want you. Okay? They're trying to figure out their own stuff. They're scared of Germany. I'm not mad at them. Germany's, whoo-wee. Yeah, Germany. That's another show for another time. And for those of you that are Germans, by inheritance or immigrant status, you already know that I'm not telling a lie. The German population are fierce, savage, and ferocious. That's what the Romans said. Caesar was like, leave those pig eaters alone. Leave them alone. 1/3 of their country is forest. Let them run around in the forest with the pigs. We as a Roman nation, we're not doing it. A word to the wise. 2 world wars later, a word to the wise. Leave them alone. By the way, they were precluded from building another army because of the devastation of 2 world wars. And do your research. They made application, I think it was for some ungodly sum of money in the billions from the International Monetary Fund to rebuild their army. And the loan was granted. Did you hear me? Now you need to know Germany is in the middle of an economic downturn. And now they want funding to build an army. And Europe is like, oh no, and we gave them the money. Fear will make you do that. Okay? So, moving ahead. BRICS. Well, the United States had a trading partner. It still does, a G7, which is Europe and the United States. And they work trade deals together. And they have worked in a symbiotic way for some time. But the rest of the world was at their service. Well, that's not the case anymore. That's not the case anymore. The U.S. is not the big boy at the table. And if you haven't figured that out, and if you're still giving homage to John Wayne as the great, great American, stop. Stop. Come away from your TVs. Stop it. This is real. The U.S. cannot bully the rest of the world any longer. That day is over. Okay? So when you see all this huffing and puffing and the woof, 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 just say to yourself, the medication is just too strong. They need to dumb it down. They don't need all those drugs because they're not thinking right. The United States represents 4.5% of the world population. Can you believe that? 330 million people. That's not a lot of people, by the way. I'm just being open. It's not. The largest percentage of the world, over 60%, is not in the U.S. It is China. 3 billion. India, larger than China. Brazil. South Africa and Africa, period. Nigeria has the highest birth rate in the world. Those women are dropping babies. They are. You can't get American women to drop babies because they're like, oh no, you're not doing that to me. I don't think so. And they just aren't having children, period. They don't want them. I'm not mad at them. If you're going to hurt a child, don't have them. If you're not going to raise a child because you don't have resources, don't do it. Now, it's really severe impact and implications on our demographics. Who's going to take care of the old people if there are no young people? And if they are young, they're not interested in taking care of old people. Think about that, because that is real. You get married, you don't have any children, who's going to take care of you? Well, somebody will. Oh, really? Read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, written in the 40s, to find out what happens to people like that in the world coming. I don't think so. So, globally, we're seeing a huge shift in population demographics. Huge. And it has real impact on how things are done. You can't go huffing and puffing when then the majority of the world is not thinking about you. And that's what BRICS is about. BRICS is an international trade organization focused on the new emerging world order. It's not new. They've been coming together for well over a decade. And again, the major players are China, which is our competition, by the way. And don't get mad at China because we did it. Yes, we did with NAFTA. Bill Clinton, thank you. You're just so bright, I can't take it. China, where I lived, and my mind was so wrecked when I got back home. I thought, and this is before they were China, those people were ferocious, period, back then. And I mean, I saw the American tourists coming, but I was in the city. I was not in the tourist zone. I was there with the people. And I'm telling you right now, I have never been around anything that wild and bizarre in my life. They believe it is their destiny to control and dominate the world. The dragon. Roar. Huh? He may have started off as a snake in a garden, but he is definitely a dragon today. And then you have Russia. And before you start going, well, they're communists. They work in capitalism better than we do. Okay? Understand your economic systems. Capitalism, socialism, and don't say you don't know what that is, that's Social Security, and communism, where the state takes care of everything. But all of them are playing capitalism. It just doesn't look like America. So you got Russia. Then you've got Brazil. They're like, who the heck is Brazil? Pull out your world globe and look at the part of the world that is Canada, U.S., Mexico, and keep going down. And you'll see a huge continent. Because that continent used to be attached, before the flood, it was attached to Africa. You can see it. It's separated by water, and it's over here. But All your coffee, where do you think your coffee comes from? Outside of Africa, Brazil. Your leathers, your meat, and they are part of this trade alliance, along with India. And before you say, well, I didn't think they were that rich, India has more humans than China does now. It is the most populous country on the face of the world. Okay? So you've got these 5 countries that came together to begin to figure out how they could not be so dependent upon the U.S. dollar. And you say, I don't understand. The way everything got carved out after World War II, the U.S. took on the position as the great enforcer globally, bases everywhere to make sure nobody dropped a bomb. Although we did, ask the poor people of Japan. Oh, well, they asked for it. Did they? Why didn't they drop a bomb on Germany? Okay? Hitler was not Chinese or Japanese. Hitler was German. Actually, a German Jew. They didn't drop a bomb on Germany, but they did drop a bomb on Nagasaki and Hiroshima and blew them away. I mean, just crazy. So we did this, but one of the things we also did was say that all transactions had to be done in U.S. currency. When you settled the accounts, payment had to be in U.S. dollars. Now, what did that do? That empowered the United States in terms of monetary domination globally. Everybody had to settle accounts in U.S. dollars, which at the time, because people were in a, oh my God, I'm still alive mode. Okay, so the U.S. emerged as the powerhouse. Boom, 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 boom. John Wayne, you got it coming. We got it. But boy, oh boy, look at us today. Just being honest, somebody better tell you the truth without fluffing it around like it's all good. Because truth of the matter is, it's not good at all. Our manufacturing left the United States because a premise of capitalism is profit. The people at the top make all of the profit. Meaning after paying for the labor, after paying for the equipment, after paying soft costs, legal, marketing, all that kind of blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, who's making the real money? Profit. And every junior economist, beginning MBA, will tell you, you got to control labor. If you can control labor costs and pay them little bit, your profits grow significantly. So the worker bee, oh, I know you got a title. You don't like to be told you're a worker bee. You work, don't you? Who signs your check? The worker bee. The goal is to pay you minimum so that they can make maximum. And they will do whatever is needful. And in this particular case, the decision was made to go to China and Asia because labor costs were dirt cheap. Those people work for nothing. Which means that your big boys made a ton of money for over 50 years. Guess how long we've been playing with them? Okay? So don't think like this is a new thing, because it's not. And the American capitalist made a ton of money and continues to make a ton of money because the Chinese at that time were an emerging country that was poor. But they did a couple of things that really, really kind of, as an economist, I said, they told their people, you're not doing debt. You can save, But you're not doing credit cards. You're not doing anything but cash. So, what happens to a nation that doesn't have debt? Well, they become the nation that has all the money. And that is exactly what happened. They emerged with all the money. I'm trying to lay it out so you'll understand, and I'm not using fancy pant economic terms because we just need to be down about this conversation. Okay? I'm not fluffing anything because I know what I know. So, we engaged in them and shoes, everything. I saw everything over there. I did. Steve Madden, everybody was making major bucks over here. Wasn't us. Trust me. No. And before you say, well, I had equity in that company. Who are you kidding? According to data, the average American retiree leaves the workplace after all those years of working like a dog with $25,000 to their name. That's it. Where'd the money go? Well, if you're trying to live like the rich and you're not rich, you're going to finance that lifestyle some kind of way. And our country allowed you to go in debt. You went in debt to buy a car. You went in debt to get stuff, vacations, cruises, more cars, clothes, that's a trip, etc. While they were over there living skinny, I'm serious, living skinny and banking their money. And many of them started their own businesses and banked more money shipping that stuff over here. Okay? For the record, they didn't pay their people well either. But it was a different motivation because under a communist system, the government pays for your housing. How would your balance sheet look if you didn't have the housing expense? And the government covered most of their meals. So the two major components of life under the communist system were covered. So the rest you can work a little cheaper when you don't have to pay anything out. Okay? And for the record, and I can validate, all the electric is over there. It looks like Christmas every day over there. At night, everything lights up. The cars lit up, the apartment buildings lit up, everything was lighter up. And I'm sure it's still the same. Singapore is gorgeous. Shanghai, lovely. Shenzhen, lit up. You say, well, how do they do it? They're communist. That's how they do it. So, we had this going on. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that while we were basking in our glory, they were working like little buzzards. And what they did, while they had very little, they set up relationships with all kinds of countries, because none of them had any money back then. And they made deals. In Africa, and I say this because 20 years ago, maybe older, I read a report, did not publish, about the presence of China in Africa, which, by the way, is a huge continent with over 55 nation states and all of the resources. It's not just South Africa. They got gold, they got lithium, they got cocoa, they got shea butter. They got it. And the Chinese were over there cutting deals. We'll build your roads. Oh, you don't have to look to the Europeans. We'll do that for you. We'll buy your stuff. Didn't make any sense then, but it does now. Because under BRICS, this trade association, which is much bigger now than the 5 original founding members, it's much bigger. They're cutting deals with each other. And they are not using U.S. dollars to finance any of this. They're transacting with each other in their own currency. When we thought, and I say this because this just tells you how out of touch we are as a nation. When Joe Biden said, we are not going to do oil with Russia, period. Who do they think they are? Who did the Russians cut deals with? In fact, they've made more money after our edict than before. The first person that bought their oil was India, followed by China. They were like, we don't have anything to do with them, but we do need oil, and we do like your attractive trade price. That was the beginning. If your alarm did not go bzzz, then you just must be asleep. They transacted, and they're still transacting. Now, the United States, of late, I just heard, they have whacked India's tariff from 25% to 50% if they don't stop buying oil from Russia. Well, I'm here to tell you, they're not going to stop buying oil from Russia. And we said, well, if you do, we're just going to stick it to you. And they're going to say, and we're going to stick it to you because most of our exports are going your way, including clothing and other things. Jewelry, they're the diamond headquarters. It's not South Africa. Wake up. They got diamond brokers, real diamond brokers that are billionaires. Really? So, if you cut us off and our people wind up hungry because they can't work, what do we give you, since you're starving our workforce, to prove a point? We have nothing to do with your issues with Russia. I know what they're saying. We're business people. The price was great. We don't care about the politics. We need the oil. This is what's happening today. In times past, viewers, we were the only game in town. You had to jump when we said, hop, how high? Now, they trade with each other. And just fast forwarding so you'll understand the significance of this, Africa is awake. Oh yeah, they're awake with all their resources and all their people. And this is what I found out this last week, because for those of you that are not aware, I've been involved with shea butter for 25 years. The women and the children, that's my heart. Poorest country in Africa, live on $1 a month. Well, things have changed. They got a new president, this young David. Hoo-wee, makes me want a fan. And he is finer than fine. And he is mentally stable. And the French, who thought they had an inroad, out you go. Well, our beloved president whacked them a tariff of 50% on their shea butter. I mean, the people don't have anything but these trees and these 50%. If you want to bring it over here, the American people are going to have to pay for that. And so he said, I'm going to make it real easy. We're not going to export anything to you, period. And guess who was right in the back door? The Chinese. The Chinese said, oh, no worry, no worry, no worry. It's business. We will buy all your shea butter. And then everybody has to buy it from us. Well, you know, the big cosmetic companies over here had a cow. Oh, yeah. I won't name names. Do your own research. What? They've been scrambling trying to find where they could get Burkina Faso's shea butter, which, for the record, folks, I have it. Something told me, just lay low. Lay low, because it's going to be crazy. And this stuff is totally responsible for keeping me, at the age of 73, wrinkle-free. The Burkina Faso shea butter is the best. I said it 25 years ago. I'm going to say it right now. It's the best. Anyway, $2.1 billion trade agreement with China. And China said, not only are we going to buy all your shea butter, but we're going to help you to build processing facilities and get all these women off the ground and into the facility so that they can make money and they can go. How can you argue with that? That's what I wanted for the women. The Chinese in one fell swoop said, we'll cut a deal, we'll work it out. Then the Koreans came behind and said, oh, no, you won't, because we're the beauty people. We're the beauty people. And so shea butter is going east, not west. And the other African nations, and I'm just telling you, said, well, dang, if they can do that with shea butter, Ghana, why can't we do that with our coffee? Why can't we do that with our other raw resources? We'll just cut deals with them and forget the other side. Well, folks, that is not a good story. Okay? That's not a good story. Because we need raw earth. We need lithium. We need all of these things for our own resources. But remember, we make up 4 to 4.5% of the world population, and BRICS makes up 60%. Whew! As an economist, I'm like, oh, those aren't good odds. They are going to carve us out. And they're going to go on and make their money. I also read of late, they're starting an African bank for the whole continent. Everybody will be using the same banking system and will standardize their currency so they can trade anywhere they want. There'll only be one passport. One passport. All those countries can trade with each other. Now, I don't care what your political position is, because I don't do politics. Dealing with economic issues is stressful enough for me without getting into that mindset. Okay? But I will tell you, money drives systems, not politics. And whoever is making the money gets to sit at the table and carve the deal. And it's looking more and more like this emerging trading partnership. China is, and the United States competitively are what they are. China's winning. Our GDP, gross domestic product, what we make, 3 to 4%, they're 7 to 8%, China's more. Things have changed, and they're changing fast. And lest I forget, for those of you that are enamored with artificial intelligence, Chat GPT, all those things that make you decorate, do cute things, that's not the story, folks. Artificial intelligence cuts the waste and also cuts worker bees. If they can do the work without a human component, why not? Oh, they wouldn't do that. They're doing it. Do you actually believe humans assemble cars in Detroit? Really? You think that's what's going on in the assembly lines? Why would the union cut the deal it cut? Because AI said, either you work this out or you all will be on the streets. And this is why the push for a minimum income. Because unless you retrain or retool, you're going to be out here. So again, this show, today's segment, is to bring you forward, not push you backward. To let you see exactly what we are dealing with. And come out of the clouds. Self-awareness. Remember I said this on shows. You better know. You don't need to speculate today. You can go into the computer and get all kinds of answers. And you say, well, who do I trust? Well, I tell you who not to trust. Please. Those that are painting a picture of fairyland and that rah, 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 we're going to beat you into submission. We're going to take Greenland. Excuse me? We're going to do this. Excuse me? Are you on LSD? Are you hallucinating? Are you taking your meds properly? Are you on anxiety medication to dull you out? What the heck are you doing? We as a nation, listen to me, viewers. I'm speaking to you direct and from my heart because I have seen this. I'm trained. I know where this is headed. The U.S. dollar is declining fast. We're worried about politicians, and I'm worried about worldwide stability. You can't have people starving, and you got all the money and you're fat. Oh, they will do an extraction quickly. Okay? Oh, we don't want them over here. In a minute, you won't have to worry about that. I will say to you, an unnamed, huge Fortune 100 company brought a number of Chinese scientists over here, hired them. Now in China, you work over here, but you can't stay. Hired them, had them working, profits went down, they shipped them all back home. And I commented, not smart. You ship the people that develop your products back home. Do you know what they're going to do when they get back to China? They're going to set up their own shops. And then they're going to outcompete you and run you out of their country. Do you know that is exactly what happened? Oh my God, they did the exact same formula since they developed them. And since the Chinese truly believe there's no such thing as an original anything. They said, God didn't just give it to you. Give it to a whole bunch of people. Whoever gets to the finish line first gets it. They got it. They booted them out. I said when I lived there, they counterfeited everything. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. You know, tiny fingers. Yeah. They booted that company's entire product model out. Why? They undercut them on price. Why? Because they don't have to make profit in the same sense that we as a country do. Remember, they are communists who have flipped the capitalist model. They're going to show us how it works. Okay? So, I say all this to suggest to you that on your homework, per the money lady, to do research on BRICS, B-R-I-C-S, and learn about them because you're going to hear a lot more about them. And you're going to see how relationships are shifting. And it is foolish to think anybody's going to do business with you paying this situation with these tariffs, and they're not paying the tariff. The tariff is paid by the American people to buy this stuff. And the government's making millions of dollars off of us again. Again. I am disgusted. Anyway, having said this, what do you think is going to be the outcome? And how are you going to get through the day when you can't get anything without paying for it? Okay? That's anything. Those wonderful avocados from Mexico. Oh, I love them. You can pay for that. So taxes are not enough. Income taxes are not enough. So you're just going to extract from us the rest. What's going to be left for us? Okay? I'm just saying. I'm putting it out there as an economist, not a politician. You do whatever you want to do, But in the meantime, you still have to feed your families. You still have to attend to the things that are necessary for you. You still got to deal with your rent, your mortgage, your homeowner's insurance, your real estate taxes, which has gone through the roof, your gas and electric bill. Duke Energy, you should be ashamed of yourself. Period. Awful. Who can do this? It's still on you. Nobody's going to save you. So, with awareness, okay, remember self-awareness, how am I responding to this? No aha, no, oh, I'm so surprised. Don't be. Prepare. Get your house in order. Do what is necessary for you to survive. Start your own little cash businesses where you can do things and get paid. And stack the money. Get out of debt. Number one for 2026. Do not be in bed with a bank or a credit card company, which is a bank. Don't do that. Because that's just like, really? If you're going to do anything, get out of that maze of terror. Because it is terror when their collection agency comes after you for that money, for that worthless dress, shoes, whatever. Oh, before I forget, Temu and Shein have been able to do all this, first because it's the Chinese government, but also because there was an $800 exemption on these small packages. Well, that goes away. So you're going to find that after they exhaust their U.S. warehouses, you're going to have to really pay for what they're marketing. Now, I don't do business with them. I don't do business with none of them because I don't need clothes. If anything, I'm trying to give them away. For real. I got couture, got everything. I don't need that stuff. But for those of you that are addicts, you need to put that little piece of data in your bank and keep it in mind. So to conclude, because I've only got a minute and a half left, and there's so much more I want to say about BRICS, but you got enough to do the research and to see why this is not coming. This has arrived. And their membership is just booming. All the Arab countries are a part of it now. African, they all want to make money. And if they can't make it with us, they'll make it with each other. And I'm not against that. I'm like, business is business. Trade where your business is wanted. Don't trade where people don't want you. And I know for a fact that the American consumer is going to have a heart attack about this. Which is, you got to be kidding me. I'm not putting up with this. Well, try to make a difference. Give it some thought in the remaining moments of my time. I want to thank all of you for being open and attentive to the information. I do believe there's only a few economists who are giving you this information. Please listen carefully. Govern your lives accordingly. Trust God implicitly, because the stuff is too crazy for you to figure out. And know that I remain tuned in and alert, and I am aware that the crap is crazy and going to get crazier. Thank you so much for being a part of my world, and I appreciate the opportunity to share with you what I consider vital information for these difficult times. I'm Michelle Graves, the Money Lady. Thank you so much. God's peace and blessings to you and your family. And God help our country. Take care. Bye-bye.